2, 1. Yeah, I think it's on. Hello there, this is Finn from the far north. It's so cold today, it froze my little targets off. What is colder than a witch's wicked hair. I looked at myself and, well, it ain't a mirror, but anyway, it says I'm live. I don't know. I had to pinch myself earlier. Hold my hand over a flame to say that it was going to be all right. I did a thing on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and I was like, um, it was interesting. Now, why won't this thing? Um, please forgive me in that um, I have traumatic brain issues, and I'm an old geezer that, is silly as hell. And um, I swear I used to know how to use this Google stuff, and they changed something on me. I went in there to get find a picture and pop it up on the thing, and it was like it said I didn't have any pictures, and somehow this Chromebook that I have revamped itself and it shut itself off around the first, and went out there to Google and updated itself, and when it came back, none of my stuff was on it. It just, I thought maybe it had synced it and put it on the cloud do thingy. I don't want nothing on a cloud except rain, and the rain that comes out of them clouds. Well, I have been inspired again today to turn on this camera here and speak to folks. And I try to type in different chat rooms and things. And by golly, I'm 65. The arthritis, these keys on this daggum keyboard are too close together. I have to reach, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, a double type, I'm always correcting stuff, and I can't type fast enough is what I want to say or think. Sometimes stuff gets just coming out of me. Anywho, what I would like to say is just that it seems like the different channels that I have visited, and if you will so kindly, if you want to know where I come from, just go to my channel thingy and look at those videos that I have liked or watched or whatever, and I think it's public anyway. It's supposed to be, but just go in there and just look. I think I've got 270 some odd channels that I monitor, and everybody's got a slightly different opinion, and that's what makes it great. And one of the things, and it started happening, I want to say after it started happening around the time of the eclipse, when the eclipsed all over, never mind. But the time of the eclipse, this last August in 2017, this being, I can't believe it. It's the 11:02, January 2, 2018. I can't believe I made it. Hey, so I'm going to these different sites and I'm looking, and I say I'm lurking because I'll put my 2 cents worth in there. And that's one of the things that I've been kind of beat upon. I mean, my guardian angel, my spirit guide, has literally drugged me by the collar out of my woods, which is 20 feet that away from me being in the house. Okay, 30 feet. To come out and speak to folks about some truthful things that maybe there is a way that I might be able to explain something of this craziness that's going on. Things with Mother Earth. And if nothing else, maybe it would be to somebody else is going, I've been wondering about that too. And everybody else just said, I'm just plumb crazy, but I have observed this thing. And everybody else is going, nah, they're too busy to make the same observation. That's not what the other folks say, but that's what I see. Other people are like, well, friend of mine, I was like, My bedroom upstairs points east. And where does the sun come up normally? Is in the east. Okay. Now the sun during certain parts of the year, now in the wintertime, it's lower in the sky because where we are in the universe. So I know that when I wake up in the morning and the sun's peeping in, it should be peeping in about over this direction from my bed, right? Well, when I wake up and the sun is coming in from a totally different window, it ain't never come in before. That's like 25 or 30 degrees away from where it should be. That is an observation that is just something you got to go, well, wait a minute now. I just didn't, blah, blah, blah. No, I can sit there and drink my coffee and the sun's in the same spot all morning long. I didn't just have a slight hallucination. So then I started tracking it. And then when I tried to show some of my neighbors, and I think these people are smart. They all been gone to school, and some of them have got 2 degrees, one in, economics and another one in something. Anyway, but to the point, these folks aren't dumb. But do you think that these non-dumb people, and I was listening to a Lionel earlier that I missed that he did earlier today, I believe it was. And he was something about, if he's an idiot, you just can't worry about it because there's no fixing an idiot. Like you can't fix stupid. And so some of my friends around here, I'm wondering, they're not stupid. They're dumb. Because they're like, well, which way does the sun? It always comes up over there. So I challenged a friend of mine. I said, all right, Mr. Ed. No, he's not a horse, but sometimes. I said, all right now, Mr. Ed. It really is his name. What window does the sun come up? And, well, it's always just coming up and blinding me in the eye. And I said, do you have a compass? Well, yeah. It's all right. I said, well, find out well, I know which way that window points. I helped Mama build that house. And I said, okay, then which way is it facing? He said, well, it's facing, oh, holy crap. And I was like, what's the problem? He said, well, that window is facing southwest. And I said, yeah. He said, down towards Valdosta. And I said, yeah. Well, the sun don't come up from where we live. That is way east is over here. And Valdosta is like almost south, So here we go. So this gentleman, who's just a few years younger than I am, me being 65, him in his mid to upper 50s. And he's he came back over one day to return something I'd called him. And he says, I asked him, I said, so what you think about watching the sun every morning when it comes up? Has it moved on you? Did it move to another window? He said, you some bitch. And I was like, what'd you say? You some bitch. That's how the Southerners around here will talk sometimes. You some bitch. And I said, okay, so I'm some bitch. What about it? What'd I do? He said, deep in my heart, I knew something was wrong because I've been staying at Mama's house now for years, and I never seen the sun come up in that window. It never woke me up and blinded me when I opened my eyes. He said, I never had that problem. And he said, I woke up one day, and he said, but then it started happening more regular, and I just never thought any more about it. So people have seen the changes coming around. They might not be able to understand what these changes are and why they're happening. Now, I happen to be plugged in, and I'm not bragging. In a lot of ways, I kind of wish I was left out of this. But in other ways, I understand now that what I was told when I was 3 years old and what I was told when I was 7, what I was told when I was 11, I understand now why I'm here now. Because there are going to be some people who are just not going to believe what's fixing to happen. They don't believe in spaceships. They don't believe in aliens. And those folks who believe in aliens are damned and determined to believe that every one of them is a demon. And that they are all here to succumb to, take us under and blah, blah, blah. So the people that believe in UFOs are convinced that there are no good ones out there. Now, my thing is that some other folks who have been observing stuff, they it's like, if there's a UFO, and I know that there are because I've seen them. I physically in the sky watched a battle over my house. Uh, It's almost been a year now. I mean, it was back last spring, so here we are, 2018 already. So it's been dang near a year. But I've seen other things that were so far high up, it was really hard. But it was like, I I'll be sitting here. I got a south facing windows. I can look out my windows and see the moon sometimes. And sometimes I'll just get a little tap on the shoulder. Hey, you got to go outside and look at the stars. Okay. Well, depending on what kind of mood I'm in, I'll do that. I'll go outside. Well, I've been tapped on the shoulder and told to go outside, and there'll be stuff up there happening within just a few minutes. If I wait more than 10 minutes, then whatever it was I was supposed to go out and see, I missed it. That's my rule, and this has been going on for 20 years. So, gosh, I don't know if this is a place to tell that story or not. Wow. It was December 2009. I was sitting here in my little old house down here in South Georgia with a friend of mine, and I had just finally got my disability. After 5 years of trying to get disability, I finally got it. And I got medical records that are, knee deep. But the way Social Security works and the way they want this disability to work and the way they shammed us and cut me out of $400 a month. They cut me out of $400 a month. To this day, they owe me big time. And they wouldn't pay me on my back pay. And the judge even sent me a letter and apologized, because what they did was they held up everybody that was applying at that time until the law passed. And then they took a bunch of us and said, well, you can have your Social Security now. But they took $400 a month out of every one of us. Every one of us, man. Sure. So I'm sitting here, we're watching television, and I think I'd gotten a check for, I don't know, like $2,000 or something. They sent it in like 3 or 4 different checks for some stupid reason. But I got $2,000, and I mean, I ain't had $200. I've been so poor. And so it's like, oh, man. So I'm sitting here with my friend, and just out of the blue, I hear this voice that says, Dave, you need to go to town. Go to Walmart, but you need to go to town. Okay. I tell my friend, Tim, I said, you don't have to go, but, there's really nothing on TV. You want to go? Yeah, okay. So off we go to town. Now, this is about 10:30 at night, okay? This is not like, 7, 8 o'clock. And it's 20 miles one way. Off to town we go. I'm walking around. He goes, what you buying? I said, I don't know. I bought a sewing machine that I ain't used yet. That's the truth. And so walking around the store, Tim was like, what's going on? I don't know. I said, I got a feeling like I'm just supposed to wait. But when I get the tap on the shoulder, because he knew about my taps on the shoulder and how accurate they were, it blew his mind many times, blew my mind, still does. But so he says, he walked around the store, met a couple of people, now it's pushing 12 o'clock. So now I look at him, I said, hey Tim, I said, it's time to go. I said, we got to take this stuff over to my friend's house on the way. It'll take a few minutes. And I said, I think it's time to go. So we get my little old pickup truck and, check out, go over to my friend's house, Miss Marcy. And she's had spooks and stuff all around her all her life. She has been doing, life stories and stuff. She does charts, but they're more of an empathic thing. I can't think of the word right now. Anyway, she's almost as old as me. Actually, I think she's 1 year younger. So she's 64. I am 65. And so Miss Martha, she go over there, and her house got spooks all around. So she's got this, or had a microwave. And the thing just starts going beep, beep. Now, there ain't nobody over there. Ain't nobody been over there. And this thing starts going off. Now, there ain't no electrical short. This is the spirits telling her, hey, yo, something's up. So we look at the clock. Boom, boom, boom. Marcia's like, well, what you got going here? And I said, I don't know. I said, Creator told me to come into town. There was something we needed to do. And I said, I didn't spent $200, $300 at Walmart. And I said, some of the stuff I needed, but and my other sewing machine is broke, but I didn't have to buy a new one, but it was on sale. But I said beep beep beep, and the lights and the microwave just starts going crazy. All right, but it's flashing the same numbers, and it's flashing. There was four. It was 431, 431. Flash, flash, flash. Beep, beep. 431, 431. Okay, all right. So go over and open the door and close it back, and it goes off. By the time she gets back to sit down where she was at, which is just a couple feet, 431. Beep, beep, beep. Things going crazy. So I look at Tim and I said, Tim, I think it's time for us to head on to the house. He goes, well, okay. So now we live way out in the country. Now, this was around, 2 weeks ago would have been 8 years. Okay, so it was just before Christmas. And I want to say around the 19th, but I can't swear. But it came back to me here this year kind of strong in that, do you know what you did? Do you really understand, Mr. Dave, what you did? I came from sitting here watching television at 10 o'clock, going to town, screw around for a couple of hours, and then on the way home, down here in South Georgia, we got some really nice hilly spots, and I picked a nice end of the county that's got some nice hills on it, and twisty turns, and Lower Meigs Road kind of twiny, windy kind of thing, as the old folks like to say. Older folks than me like to say. So we top over this hill, and there's a crossroads, and something was just weird. And I said, Tim, something's wrong. I said, because there's a fire in the middle of the road. And he was like, how can you see that far? Because the road's supposed to be dark, and down where I knew these several long bridges were at the bottom of this hill, heading back up another one, that there shouldn't be no light in the middle of the road. It should be plumb dark for as far as you can see, which is a couple of miles on coming over that hill. So we got close, and I started slowing down a little bit. I said, Tim, something ain't right here, bubba. And I mean, I didn't like slow down to 20 miles an hour, but I was doing 60, and I slowed down to 45 about. And then the closer we got, I really slowed down, because what we saw was a truck on fire in the middle of this double bridge. And the fire is under the truck. So the truck itself isn't burning, but the ground is. But, and thank God it didn't blow up. But so we both get out. Now, he's an ex-Navy man, and I've not been in the service, but I've had a lot of training with the Scouts and Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. I mean, I've known how to do a tourniquet, snake bite for all my life. I was trained to do that. I've been out in the woods and the swamps. I just learned how to do it. I learned it from old timers, and that's just what I learned. Okay. And so when I saw what was going on, I was like, I didn't need to, I was headed for the truck to get there was somebody still in that truck, and they had taken this truck and took the guardrail and peeled it back dang near the whole length of this guardrail to where the concrete started. You can kind of guess. The length of the truck times 3. And it was an old Chevy. Was it that short base? No, it was a Chevy. It was a Chevy that had just had it at, 8-cylinder all cleaned up. And I mean, I didn't hear it running, but I know one that sounded like it. And I knew the guy that built the engine. So anyway, I got to get this other guy out, and Tim says, no, you got a cell phone, call 911. I'm Navy. I've been trained, to deal with fires. I got this. Right. So he goes over and grabs this guy and pulls him out of the truck and drags him across over towards me, away from the truck and the fire. All right. Now, as he's dragging him, I can see from the light, my headlights, and I could see the light from underneath the truck, that this guy's missing a leg from the knee down. Holy shit. What do we do? So I'm like, 911. Well, we were at the bottom of this hill, And I looked down at the clock as at my cell phone as I was dialing the numbers, and the number said 1:34 a.m. Now it was 4:31 on the damn flashing lights on the microwave. So I called, and I'm looking at him like, oh my God, Marcia's going to freak when I tell her about this. So Tim's having issues over there. So I'm like 911. I said, you send somebody down this location, blah, blah, blah. Now the truck's on fire. The man's lost his leg. You need to get somebody here right now. And it went out. I lost, stay on the phone, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't. I lost signal. And I had, it was bottom of the hill. Well, we got the guy over the side of the road. I took a look. He wasn't bleeding out. There was no spurting. Thank you, Jesus, right? Well, I ran back to the car, which wasn't far, but I wanted to keep far enough away in case that damn thing blew up. Now, Tim had something, a stick or something, and thank God the fire wasn't in the truck. It was only in the gasoline. So he was able to put the gasoline out with some dirt and stuff, and I helped him throw some more dirt up underneath it. But the biggest thing was at the moment, since he had that, this guy was missing a leg from the knee down. Now, I'm sorry, but I just don't drive home and find people on the side of the road that are missing legs and their car's on fire. Holy shit. Do I panic? No. And I don't know about you, but I've often wondered, well, what if I came up on a bad accident? Could I handle a situation? Could I put my hands on somebody's bleeding, whatever, and keep them from, to save them? Well, I found out that night I could. I didn't have any gloves. There's no protocol that goes through your brain at an instant like that says, hey, you can't touch that person. They might have AIDS. You bet. Where's your gloves? There ain't no time for that. Ain't no time. Now, you could have got us something. You could have got us something. Yeah, I could have. I could have drove around the guy too and went on home. A lot of couldas. Tim and I got this guy to the side of the road. I had went back to the car, had a couple of a little short blankets, like little Indian blankets that I took camping and stuff. And I'd go off my car, and if you get a little chilly, I'd always have something to wrap around or something, or lay on the ground or whatever, just something in the car. And a couple of, it was not as cold as it is tonight, but it was chilly that night. And I had an extra jacket or something, and I don't know, a little pillow that goes in my back for the seat for long rides, and got back out there, and we made him as comfortable as possible. Because the first thing you do is treat for shock. You get the legs up, or leg as it were. And the other one, I was like, what the hell do I do? So I had my belt, took my belt off, and I pulled it as tight as I could around just below his knee on his stump. And the only thing I knew to do was just reach down there and grab the damn thing, which, to pick up a bloody stump, I was like, but it's not spurting blood. How are you not spurting blood? So I got him in a tourniquet. Cell phone rings. Now, this has all happened pretty quick, within a couple of minutes, because we're not slow, we're running to get this done, run, put this thing together, get this guy stable. Cell phone. This is 911. Why'd you hang up? I said, I didn't. I'm in a low spot, and it's fixing to go out again. Damn it, get somebody down here. We got this guy on the side of the road. Right now, the truck's not on fire, but he has missing his leg, and he is going to bleed out if you don't get somebody here. Now, it would have happened. Thank God he wasn't bleeding as bad as oh my God. So the first there is a sheriff's deputy. It takes him almost 10 minutes to get this sheriff's deputy there. Now, by the time he had hit the bridge, to the time we saw the fire under his truck, from what we can best piece together, was about 10 minutes. So he was sitting in his truck, knocked out, missing leg, fire under the truck, maybe 5-10 minutes. 10 max, because I think the rest of that truck would caught on fire. I don't see how it didn't catch on fire and blow up anyway. I digress. So when the sheriff's deputy got there, he was like, oh shit, what have you guys been? Oh my God. He gets on the radio and he's like, you guys need to get out here You know, I don't know what's taking you so long. If it's another bad night, you need to get somebody out here now. You need to get paramedics out here now. This guy, you know, he starts panicking in a way. Tim and I were still like, yeah, he's missing a leg, all right. Yeah, whoops. You know, and for some reason, it hadn't hit us. Okay. He's missing a leg. We saved the guy. He's on the side of the road. We've got him covered. His legs are up. We've got his head still because he's definitely, his head had hit the windshield. Looked to be like twice because there were two different stars. So we're going along there and everything's okay so far. Now, in most accidents or incidents like that you ever see, when the paramedics get there, they always say, all right, move out of the way. Yeah, move out of the way. We got this under control. When these paramedics got there, they said, oh my God, look at the work you did. Here, will you help me hold him? Tim, will you hold his head while we get this neck brace on him? You know, Dave, will you help hold this man's? Now, here's the paramedic next to me, and he's like, there are gloves in the ambulance there, and you know, because he's got his on. You know, I mean, that's the first thing they do, right? And so he's kneeling next to me, and he's got the gauze and everything, and I looked at him and I said, my hands are all ready. I got his blood all over me. It ain't going to matter now. Go ahead. So I grabbed him by the knee, held it still, you know, while he put a compress on it, and we wrapped this gentleman up. Don't know the man. We saved his life that night. And everything was okay. He was in the ambulance. They would stop the bleeding, and we'd realized that when he hit the guardrail, he folded it in half. He hit it in such a way that he hit it here, but it took this part and folded it upon the other, and both halves went right past the engine, it just right through the truck and was sticking into the cab about 2.5 foot. When it went through the truck, it severed his leg, but the heat, the friction of the metal going through the truck cauterized his leg. And that's why he didn't bleed out. Now, from all of the 431, blang, blang, get up, go to town, I ain't nowhere in the world had no reason. Now, people say, well, I had this strange feeling, blah, blah, blah. Well, did you act on it? Well, no. Well, that's how you find out if God is real. That's how you find out whether angels are real. That's how you find out whether telepathy is real. That's what tells me that there is life on the other side. How in the hell did I know to get up from here, drive into town, hang around Walmart until 10 minutes before this man has an accident, and then let's go save his life? And then I was telling the story about 2 months later to my stepdaughter, and she told me, she said, oh my God, Papa. She said, that's my cousin's wife, her husband. Her cousin, female husband, right? And he has a daughter and 2 daughters. And so if he had died that night, he would have left 2 daughters, and they had just had their divorce or an argument, and he was staying with a friend, got drunk, wasn't supposed to go anywhere, but he got so mad he was going to go see her. So he got in his trunk, drunk through the ditch. He should have wrecked before he ever got to that bridge. But we kind of put our heads together. He had to have been doing 100. There ain't no way you can hit a piece of metal like that and do what it did and go through a vehicle. And I mean, the fact, and the good news, the really good news, he's walking around with a, false leg. Can't think of the word, false leg thing. And he's fine. And he is now able to see his 2 daughters and take care of them. He's slowed down. I don't know if they got remarried or not. I haven't talked Baba Jean in a while, but that's not the point. The point is he didn't die that night. Now, to me and my friend Tim, what hit us as we were headed back to the car, this big, he was about 6'4", 5", big, hefty football player kind of fellow, come around the side of in the darkness from where the truck was into the light of where the back of the ambulance was, and he was carrying this great big plastic bag with the foot and the leg in it. And that's when we both went, oh, oh. Now go figure. I held a bloody stump, but it didn't affect me. But when I saw that the rest of his leg and foot in a plastic bag, it gave us both bad dreams. Now, the good part about the bad dream is that it has a good ending. Now, a lot of stuff don't have good endings. A lot of bad stuff happens. Now, where's my coffee? So part of this discussion for 2018, what I want to bring to folks is that, listen here now, y'all. You have to start listening to your inner voice. And I don't mean like, well, I'm going to beat the crap out of that guy. No, I don't mean that inner voice. I don't mean the one that says, I like that girl over there. I'm going to go, hump it. No, no, no. Oh, I like that thing in the window there. I'm going to go break the window and steal it. No, no is not what I mean. No. However, I think probably one of the worst diseases I have seen around the world, yes, but mostly I would say in America, because I've met Europeans and folks from Russia and stuff and things over the years, and they just don't have the same mindset. And this is what it is. Americans have been taught to be greedy. Oh, yeah. Who wants to be a millionaire? Okay. A millionaire isn't, when I was growing up in the 60s, a millionaire was like a crap load of money. I mean, Trump is a billionaire, or at least worth it, blah, blah, blah. $1 billion, come on. And some of these guys are pushing $1 trillion worth of worth. I mean, holy mackerel. So everybody has to be number one. Now, many years ago, I was studying Aboriginal tribes in Australia. And there was a lady did a lecture up at University of Georgia in Athens. And a friend of mine recorded it for me. And it was several hours of tape, hard to listen to and scratchy and everything. But this woman went on to Australia back in the 80s. And she was studying this particular tribe and doing her thing. And they said, well, we're going to go on a walkabout. And that was before Crocodile Dundee came out. Okay. So nobody knew what a walkabout was. Neither did she. So they were like, if you want to come with us. Well, where are you going? Well, we're going to do a little walkabout. Well, walkabout to an American is, we're going to take a stroll and we'll be back. Well, they kept going. And she was like, well, wait a minute. Aren't you going to turn back? And they said, no, we're on a walkabout. And she was like, well, but I don't know where I am now. And they were like, well, sorry, but we're going this way. And if you want to go back to the town, you just turn around and go back that way. It ended up like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months later, she was still working with these folks. But what she learned from the Aboriginals was that there was no number one. You might be good at making a spear, but you're lousy at throwing it. You might be good at making a spear point, but you can't use a bow and arrow is out. You can't do it. Maybe you can collect mussels or shrimp and you're a damn good cook, but you can't spin a bear. Whatever it was, it didn't matter, because if this person was better, then everybody else helped the better one. They didn't argue about, oh, you're great because this person was better than him or her at doing something else. They were a faster runner. Nobody tried to be good at everything or whatever. They just did the best they could, and that their natural talents came out. Oh, what? Are you kidding me? And so when they played a game, there was no winner. There were no teams per se. It was that if you could get the ball in the hole or the hoop, then everybody clapped. That was it. There was no points going up or you got more than the next guy. No. And it was because of the way they were taught. If you made more points than anybody else, it was your obligation to step aside and allow someone else to practice, play, and get the ball in the hole. Okay? What we don't do that. We're taught that if you're not number one, you're a piece of crap. I've been number three a bunch of times. And I'm here to tell you, felt pretty good, but everybody rubbed it in. Well, you got third again, Dave. Yeah, but I got third. What? Yeah, but you only got third. Well, out of 25 people, there's one, two, and I was the third. Well, wait a minute. That means 22 other people were behind us. Yeah, but you still only got third. Now, what's wrong with that? It's greed. I didn't want, I was, let me say, I was happy I got third because I was proud that I was able to beat 22 other people. And that was, I used to be able to run. I ran track at Tampa Catholic High School. Even got, I'm even in the Hall of Fame for Tampa Catholic because we were the only track team, and that was like in 1965 or 6. Wait, 67, 60. Anyway, to go to state. They haven't been to state since in their class. So, I mean, you know, we were the first and the last. Ain't that weird? But to that point, our teacher said, do the best you can. Now, I don't know what they're teaching them now because they ain't winning at all. But you have to work as a team and you have to try to do your personal best. Now, that's what I was taught. Now, these other folks right now, it's not, you know, they'll say, well, Johnny is better than you. You better pick it up a pace or two. Well, wait a minute now, but he had a good day. Now, there was one day, I can't think of his name right now, but, well, Michael Latson. He was a school mate of mine. Long, lanky legs. My gosh, when he got out there on the track, he could stretch them two legs. I can't do, we're about the same height, but I couldn't stretch my legs the way he did, you know. But run, I think he still holds some state records in the state of Florida for Class B because of how fast he ran. I mean, you know, he was running a quarter mile in the 40s, okay? 49, 48 seconds. A quarter mile in 48 seconds. That's picking them up and putting them down. My best was about 53. But the thing is Michael didn't put me down because I could only reach third. Because when it came to the sprint medley, I was damn good at 330 yards. But on that 440, in that last 110 yards, I had issues with. Now, Michael didn't put me down for that. What they did was they put me in the sprint medley because 330 yards was, you know, that's not a regular race. However, in the sprint medley, you got a 110, a 220, a 330, and the last leg's a 440. It's a sprint medley relay. Okay. So the guy that runs the 100-yard dash is doing the 110. The guy that's doing the 220 hurdles without hurdles, he can fly. He's doing the 220. Me, I'm quick on the 330, but ain't for crap on the 440. Michael came in at 49, 2 or something like that for running his leg of the sprint medley. And that's how we won state as a team. Our coach took the best that he had. He had other people that could run the 330. I was a little old lonely freshman at about 120 pounds. But I could run. I could still run a little bit at 65. Now, to the point, though, our coach took our best assets And that's what made our team, and we still hold the record. So, what does that mean for us in 2018? What are my observations? Well, my observations has been that when I go to some of these other chat rooms, I notice people have like subbed my channel. Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And it ain't about money. And I don't know what it's about except that whatever story I tell, and one of these days I'm live, and if somebody wants to join a hangout, all they got to do is just ask, okay? I'll figure out how to get them in, blah, blah, blah. I want to have conversations. And that's one of the things that in the last month, I guess it happened about when the Mandalay Bay thing happened in Las Vegas. People started exchanging information. And rather than bitch the other, well, somebody said there was 5 shooters. Somebody said, well, there was only 4. And then, well, they argued about it for a little bit, but then something happened. Something happened across the board, and it was this. And Lionel Nation has a tendency to put it like this. It dawned on everybody that it didn't matter whether there was a shooter over to the left and a shooter over to the right. The point was that the whole thing was fake setup and a bunch of crud. And that nobody had the right answer, but everybody together had a piece of the puzzle. Because this person was standing over here, and that person was standing over there, and this person was in a car and drove by, and they had another perspective. So everybody realized, I believe that, and I hate to say it, but thank you, Cabal, for whatever happened that night. Because I think that brought people together. All us folks have been complaining about 911, me being an engineer and everything. I know them damn towers didn't come down. They just didn't. You can't set it on fire with kerosene. And an airplane won't go through steel. Period. I don't care how hard you try. Now there are some, you can make a bullet and this and that, but we're talking, an aluminum airplane ain't going through steel. Let me put it that way. And I built aluminum airplanes, okay? I built airplanes. For 4 or 5 years, I built airplanes. Mall aircraft here in Malta, Georgia. Home of the mall aircraft. Little tail draggers. I even brought in some changes to the tail wheel that they were having and improved it. Didn't get any more pay, but they quit bitching me out for being 5 minutes late when I had to drop my daughter off for school. So it worked out. Now, what I see is cooperation. What did Mandalay Bay and Las Vegas do to the truther movement? Cooperation. The way we figure this out, the way we change the system, cooperation. Now, I got, I think, 40-something subscribers now. I had 20-something, and all I did was say in a couple of the chat rooms, shameless plug, David Null, talking about weird stuff, okay? However, what I did first was connect with people who are having difficulty understanding certain things. What I'm hoping for 2018 is get us little folk together and chat. My experience with of listening to my God creator, my spirit guide, Tim and I saved this man's life for his 2 daughters and for that to come. Does it still give me nightmares? Yeah. But not as bad anymore. Because when I wake up from the nightmare of seeing a severed leg and seeing the truck on fire and seeing that surreal, the heat coming off of the road and the weird way the lights in the distance came through the fog, and the fact that the fog was, you were walking in it up, there was no fog above your head because you were on this bridge. The whole scene was just surreal, out of a dream. And I don't sit here and try to look back on something like that. I don't want to pat myself on the back about it. But the point is we all have it. I heard in one of the many programs that I listen to somebody talking about healing themselves and doing this and doing that and healing others. And so if you don't think you're doing anything, just pay attention. Just stay aware of your surroundings. You know, God might have a job for you that I just went to Walmart. If I'd have known, I've got a really good, um, first aid kit, but it was in my truck and we took the car, because I take it camping in the truck. You never know. Now, I think that what we need to do for 2018 is continue this wonderful thing that's been happening in the last 2 weeks. And that's little people like me. I say little. I was an engineer for a, Fortune 500 company. They flew me to Canada around and working on machines and meeting with the big wigs of Ford and Chrysler and telling them their products sucked and that their engineers were stupid and let me fix it for them, which I did many times. And then it goes back up the line. So I've kind of been around. Do I know everything? No. But I've been an altar boy, and priest have pedoed me and thumbs up my ass and wherever else you want to go with that part. But the simple fact that each of us has a story. And when we talk with one another and share our stories, we find out the commonality of, guess what? We are all human beings. Oh my God, the battery on this thing's fixing to die. Oh crap. Forgot to plug it in. All right. Well, the thing is someplace else. I guess that means I'm going to wrap this up. So, good point. 2018, if we all listen to our inner being and not listen to so much of the stress that they're trying to push upon us and make us believe, and because you're here listening to me, you obviously want to believe something else, or you wouldn't be even checking me out, right? Or subbed me. And I thank you. And I've subbed other people, like 15 people. I don't care. The point of the matter is we all have a story to tell. We are all together on this. Somebody might have a damn good recipe for quiche. Well, I got a bunch of eggs because I got chickens. I used to have people come down and buy my eggs. They won't even come see me anymore because I'm too crazy about this stuff. But I'm trying to warn them, and there are people who know that me and my friend Tim saved this gentleman's life and then that he lost his leg. That is a true fact. But everybody goes, oh, well, Dave. No, we have witnesses. We know, we have dates, times, blah, blah, blah. And people want to say, well, I got up from my warm chair and went to town with my friend Tim. And on the way home, we found a man who was dying on the side of the road. You never know when God is going to call upon you to do something. Now, my God is source. My God is creator. My God ain't a white dude sitting in a chair on a cloud. Okay, I'm sure there is one. That's not him. Read and study about Buddha. There is some good Hindu stuff that goes on. Read about Jesus. Forget the old Bible. Forget all the crap. Listen to what Jesus said. Throw out all the apostles of Paul because he was Saul, and that was way bad misinformation. Don't listen. I've had scads of scholars and priests tell me, throw out anything that Paul wrote. Don't do it. Don't listen. Don't do it, because he is off of the Jesus narrative. Now, I say Jesus, Sananda, Yahshua, whatever. We'll say the Christ figure. There have been many old prophets over the years. Some could say John the Baptist, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Moses, okay, pick. The thing is that what did they teach? Mostly they were teaching about be nice to the other guy, for goodness sakes. The only way to get up yonder, the only way to leave this realm, and the only way to not come back and have to do it all over again, which is the karma that we have, is that what we must do is we must live for the other person. If we continue to be greedy, you ain't getting in. That's all there is to it. I mean, I'm sorry, but your energy vibration, someone who is greedy is not the same as someone who will give you the shirt off their back. Homeless, millionaire, doesn't matter. If somebody's being greedy about it, well, I don't know about that. If you're going to hesitate in helping somebody, if I said, I'm not going to go over there and grab this man's leg because he's bleeding, if I'm too scared, God, if I'm too scared, Creator, if I'm too scared, I'm going to stand here and wait and watch this man die on the side of the road because I'm too scared to get blood on my hands. No, got to be ready. We have to be ready. It doesn't mean it's going to be a legless man or woman or something on the side road. Not the point. But there are things out there that each one of us can do. And we need to cooperate with one another. We need to use our words kindly. Even when somebody says, you're a horse's patootie. Thank you. I'm a good horse's patootie. I'm the best horse's patootie you will ever meet. And if you meet another horse's patootie like me, introduce me. I'd like to meet them. That tears it down. They can't argue with you. If you take what they throw at you, because sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but names will ever hurt me only if you let them. I love you. There says 2 views. Nobody on the chat thing. I love you. Come back. Let's chat. Let's share. Do a hangout together. Whatever. I'd like to hear your point of view. And I think we all need to hear the other guy's point of view. We do. Because when we share our live stories, then it gels us more as a family. And this family of you and me is what's going to be standing when these other people are just standing crazy in the street going, what am I going to do? We're going to be there to help them out. We have to be kind. We have to be compassionate. And those folks who are sleeping, we can't yell at them. We got to be nice. We have to stop. You stupid. You got to go up and say, I'm sorry you don't understand about this. Maybe I did. What about this? Did you wonder how 2 towers could fall and there not be a giant pile of rubble, 100 feet tall? Just asking. You ever tried to put a tin can through a steel, no. Okay. So by being compassionate to one another, sub to the little guys, whether you know what they're talking about or not. I mean, now if they're talking about, hate and this and killing, blah, well, But if somebody's speaking anywhere near what you believe, give them a chance. Because as we all link together, that makes a collective together. That makes an invisible net web, however you want to look at it. But it links us mechanically, magnetically, and spiritually into source, into creator. And that by that, we are winning. We will win. But we gotta get this linked together better. And we can do it because we're doing it. I mean, I had 5 or 6 new subs today. What? In 3 years, I didn't get that many, and I got 5 or 6 subs today. I'll try to do better. I did stay on topic because I wanted to explain that there were things that we need to pay attention to and what we need to do in this coming year. So I got more stuff to bring out, how we choose our words. And boy, this is going to be a toughie. And I'm going to try to get on with Wayne Steiger and see if we can't discuss this with a larger audience, because I really, really, really think it's important how we use what I call a non-word or a no word. And in a positive statement, we will use a non or no word, which will actually end up making the statement. a negative statement at the end. And wow, we've got too much. We've got too much negative now. And when we simply change around the fluid of our words and the fluidity of how the words flow from us, it is going to link us even tighter. Right now it's phenomenal. And I'm kind of freaking out here, if you want to know the damn truth, because it's like, whoa, kind of tingly here. And we made it to 2018 without the planet blowing up. Whew. We're going to make it the rest of this year, especially when we're compassionate with other people. When somebody really needs help, when it came through that we were the ones who had saved, because they just said there were two guys on the side of the road. One was an old hippie fella with long hair. The other guy was thin with a mustache. Okay, that was Tim. And they didn't know who we were. We didn't give our names. Two strangers in at 1:34, kind of in the middle of the night, saved a stranger from dying and blowing up. You never know. See, it overwhelms me to think that not only did I get up from my warm couch and go do this thing 8 years ago, but also that Creator gave me the strength to hold a bloody stump, I guess, to do something I just never believed that I could do. I mean, I had to help hold somebody's stomach together at one time. That was yuck. But loss of a limb, and I've had fish hooks in my eyes where I had to cut the fish hook out of my eye. I got speared with a hook that hooked my finger and my thumb together for 12 hours because I was down in the river, down in the swamp, and I couldn't get the darn thing off. I couldn't cut it to get I still got a big lump right there where that hook went into my hand. And I finally made it to the emergency room, and the guy was like, we're just going to go. They had to cut it out. They had to dig in there and cut it out. It hurt. It still hurts. That's been 2 years ago. But the thing is that I was in a situation where I'm in the middle of the woods and I'm hooked to a fish with a lure. And I only got one hand, and my right hand is the one that oh God, I just spilled coffee everywhere. All over the laptop. Ooh, something just happened.